Marcus Hayes had worked at Harrington Corp for exactly 9 years, 3 months and 12 days. Not once, not for illness, not for personal emergencies, not even during the winter his heating broke and pipes froze, had he called in absent. He arrived before the cleaning staff, left after the security guards, and in 9 years had never once complained. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. His desk sat in the corner of the open floor plan, quiet and steady. Like an anchor the whole office leaned on without knowing it. He was the man who fixed the system crash at 2 a.m. without being asked, who trained every new hire with patience and warmth, who remembered every colleague's birthday and left a simple card without expecting one in return. What none of them knew was that Marcus went home each night to a small apartment where he raised his 8-year-old daughter Lily alone. Her mother had passed when Lily was just a year old, and Marcus had carried that grief quietly, privately, while the world around him moved on. He never spoke of it. He simply worked. On a cold Tuesday morning, Marcus knocked on the office door of CEO Diana Harrington, a sharp, brilliant woman who had inherited her father's company and transformed it into something formidable. She was known for her precision, her high standards, and her refusal to make exceptions. Marcus stood at her door with his hat in his hands, not literally but in spirit, and asked with quiet dignity for a single day of leave on Friday. Lily's school was holding its annual Father-Daughter Day, and in 8 years he had never been able to attend. Diana did not look up from her screen for the first 15 seconds. Then she did, and her expression was unreadable. She asked if he had submitted the formal leave request. He said yes, a week ago. She said the department was understaffed that week. She said the timing was inconvenient. She said she had to make difficult decisions in the interest of the company. Then she said she was letting him go. The words landed like stones in still water. Marcus did not raise his voice. He did not argue or beg. He simply nodded, thanked her for 9 years of opportunity, and walked back to his desk with the same quiet dignity he had carried in. He packed a small box, shook the hands of the colleagues who watched in stunned silence, and left. That Friday, he took Lily to her. Father-Daughter Day. He watched her face light up when she saw him walk through the gymnasium doors, and he decided silently that it was worth every cost. That same Friday evening, Diana's father, Billionaire founder Edmund Harrington, called and asked her to meet him for dinner at Rosario's, the city's most exclusive restaurant. She arrived in her usual composed state, still turning the week's decisions over, in her mind, with the satisfaction of someone who believed they had acted correctly. She was escorted to her father's table, and there, seated across from Edmund, laughing warmly at something her father had just said, it was Marcus Hayes. Diana stopped walking. The room seemed to tilt slightly. Edmund stood and smiled, gesturing to the seat beside him. He explained gently and without drama that Marcus was an old friend. More than that, actually. 20 years ago, when Edmund's company was on the verge of collapse and no bank would lend to him, it was Marcus's father who had quietly invested his life savings to keep it alive. Edmund had never forgotten it. He had watched Marcus from a distance for years, knowing the young man had no idea of the connection, respecting his privacy and his pride too much to interfere. He had been waiting to see what Marcus would build on his own. Diana sat down slowly. The waiter poured water. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Edmund looked at his daughter and asked softly but directly why Marcus no longer worked for her company. The silence that followed was the loudest thing Diana had ever heard. That night, long after dinner ended and Marcus had hugged Edmund like a son and gone home to tuck Lily in, Diana sat in her car in the parking garage and stared at her hands. She was not thinking about the business consequences. She was thinking about 9 years of loyalty she had dismissed in 4 minutes. She was thinking about a little girl whose father had asked for one day. She was thinking about the kind of leader she had become without noticing. She called Marcus the next morning. She did not offer him his job back with conditions or qualifications. She offered it back with an apology, simple, direct, and human. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said yes. He returned the following Monday. Diana rearranged the department coverage policy that same week, making sure no parent would ever have to choose again. Some lessons arrive through textbooks and training programs. Others arrive at a restaurant table on a Friday night, in the form of a man who never raised his voice and never stopped showing up. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Because stories like Marcus's deserve to be heard.